Well guys, welcome back to the Midwest Whitetail Great Plains Show. And on this week's show, we're gonna have a couple hunts that my dad and I had last week. My dad and I were able to get out in the evening and had a really good hunt after a 10-point that we have some history with, have several sheds off the deer. The next morning I was able to get out again and had another really good hunt on a spot we call the Hilltop Food Plot, and saw several bucks and just really enjoyed the cool weather. Since then it's been really warm and haven't had a ton of deer on camera, and I set out on a mission to get some new permission in an area that I hunt already, and I had a lot of good hunts there the past couple of years. But last year, if you guys followed along on the show, I had a really good encounter with a big 8-point. And if you follow along the year before, I also passed that deer the year before. I was able to get permission on a really good 10-acre piece that looks like it has a really good funnel on it. No big 8 on camera yet, but that's a deer I'm really hoping will show up here as we get this cold front moving in this weekend. With all that said, we'll go ahead and jump to the show, and thank you guys for watching.
Although I like watching hunting shows, I don't really think I want to be on one, but Nolan's got me talked into it anyway. I set out here last night across the lake, which you can't see right now, on a food plot, and I saw a deer come in towards this stand right at dark, and we got pictures of him, and he's a 10 that we've been kind of after for a couple years now. So we're hoping that he does the same thing. It's a little bit questionable on time he might get in here. Hopefully it's within shooting light, but it was right at last light last night. But he was on his feet 20 minutes before then, and he came right to this spot, and I could see him at a distance. So hoping he does the same thing again. Little buddies too.
Well, good morning, guys. It is a beautiful, frosty October morning this morning. Unfortunately, I think it's one of our last cool days here for the next couple weeks, so I wanted to get out. This is a spot that Dad got in here and planted this food plot. We planted it 2 times, and just the drought we've had here has been terrible. It's one of the biggest droughts I've seen since I've been alive, but unfortunately, there's a lot of ponds are drying up, and we're just super dry. We actually have a water tank back over here over my left shoulder for the deer, so we've been filling that up and been getting a lot of good deer pictures on this plot. One buck we have in here is what we call him the crab buck. Last year we had him on this property. He had crabs on either side at the end of his beams. This year, unfortunately, he's kind of he didn't grow those back. I think what we're seeing here in my area in Kansas is a lot of these bucks are down in antler size from last year. They just, with the drought and the poor nutrition they've probably had, it's no wonder they're not as big as they were last year. So we're gonna sit in here this morning. There's been that buck and several others coming in here, even in the daylight, so in the morning and in the evening. So I think it should be a fun hunt. Super still this morning, but I think I got in clean. I didn't hear anything run off. And actually on my way in, I saw that big scrape out there on the edge of the hay meadow, so that wasn't here last time I was here. So should be a fun hunt this morning. Hopefully the deer are on their feet, and I'm gonna sit back and enjoy it. Well, overall, not a bad sit. Those 4 spikes finally just moved off. They were out in that pasture basically all morning, kind of goofing around. But yeah, not a bad sit. Ended up with 6 bucks and 5 does and fawns, and then another deer. Not entirely sure what it was. I don't think it was a mature deer just because it was pretty late in the morning. But I do think it was a buck. It looked like it was bigger bodied than a doe would be. But not a bad sit. It'd be really nice to get a look at that crab deer to get an idea on his age. I'm not entirely sure how old he is. Last year he was either a big bodied 3-year-old or a 4-year-old. So it'd be nice to get a look at him in person and really figure out how old we think he is. So other than that, there's several other young bucks in here that would be fun to get a look at. I hope this is a spot I can come back to here over the next couple weeks. They are going to put cattle on this property here probably by the end of the week, but where a lot of these deer come from is from the property to the south of us, and that property will not have any cattle on it. So I think these deer will continue to use this plot, and hopefully eventually we can get a look at that crab buck.